Let's go to the Northern Territory now, where a debate's raging about whether new laws requiring people to have a licence to drink alcohol is responsible stewardship or the nanny state gone mad. As you'd be aware, alcohol abuse is rife in Aboriginal communities, not just in the Territory, of course, but all around the country. Not only do the new Territory laws make a licence mandatory, you have to produce an ID to buy takeaway alcohol too. Here's Sarah Everingham.
Oh, they got some bloody good drinkers in the Northern Territory.
It's hot and it's become sort of customary to greet people with a handshake and here's a stubby and let's find time to talk.
When they drew a chalk line and they said walk that, I said I can't, I'm too bloody pissed.
It's long been known there are few things Northern Territorians like more than a drink. It was Ted Egan, the musician, who went on to become the Northern Territory's administrator, who captured the big drinking habits of Territorians in song.
I always have to remind people that my song is not about excessive drinking, it's about convivial drinking. And I don't resolve from the fact that I did write the song.
I think alcohol consumption in the Northern Territory is about 50% greater than it is in Australia as a whole. And along with that, there are higher rates of alcohol-related crime and health problems.
It looks like it's a bipartite patella, but...
The man in charge of Royal Darwin Hospital's emergency department, Dr Didier Palmer, is on the front line of dealing with the perils of alcohol abuse.
There's possibly a little fragment there.
During his 15 years working in the Northern Territory, he's seen many tragedies.
This week's alcohol tragedy is a simple car accident where a young man, a 24-year-old man, T-boned another car. The 60-year-old passenger looked initially okay and turned out to have an intracerebral bleed, so he bled into his brain.
In towns around the Territory, Indigenous drinkers are often the most visible, but the overconsumption of alcohol is not confined to that community.
A few years ago we did a study and it showed that if every Aboriginal person in the Territory were to stop drinking tomorrow, the Territory would still have significant alcohol-related problems.
You cut behind your ear there. Yeah.
The Territory government estimates alcohol abuse costs $4,000 per adult. That's 4 times the national figure. Now the Northern Territory government is trying to turn the problem around with what it's calling the toughest alcohol laws in the country. Rolled out 3 months ago, the laws mean anyone buying takeaway alcohol has to show photo ID, which is scanned to make sure banned drinkers are not served.
So we've made it as quick and simple and easy as possible. It's a 7-second swipe at point of sale and you can go on. But for the 1,500 Territorians today who are on the banned drinker register, they're not sold grog.
It is a misguided notion that people need to recognise alcohol as being the problem when they should recognise that personal responsibility is the key here.
At this small supermarket in Darwin, owner Carol Vallis says at first the new measures inconvenienced some customers.
Thank you. May I have your rider's licence?
She tells the story of a woman in her 80s who tried to use her birth certificate to buy a bottle of sherry.
It was a 1928 birth certificate, but you cannot use them. You can only use a driver's licence or some government ID.
A lot of people are nothing short of appalled that someone raises queries about the community's ability to handle alcohol, and most people say, look at me, I'm your exemplary drinker. But I think it's very important for all of us to examine where we are with alcohol, and I don't think it's a bad idea at all to have controls.
The government's banned drinkers list includes people who've committed alcohol-related crimes or been caught for high-range drink driving. People taken into protective custody 3 times in 3 months also end up on the banned list. There's also a special court for alcohol-related crime and a tribunal for reviewing cases. Both can order people into treatment.
We know that treatment for alcohol-related problems is effective, and if we can get people who are dependent on alcohol into treatment, I think that's a positive thing.
Early signs are good. Certainly our streets are quieter, our parks are quieter, our shopping centres are quieter. Early indication from police is that assaults have dropped about 15%.
But police also say there is evidence some banned drinkers are finding ways around the laws and getting access to alcohol on the black market.
If we can identify a person who's supplying alcohol to people who are on the banned drinker register, guess what? They go on the banned drinker register themselves.
We've dramatically increased the fines for sly grog sales up to $33,000. Previously they were $1,000.
Those that actually have a problem that causes a problem socially, they're going to find a way of getting alcohol, as we know they do.
While the Territory opposition wants to scrap the banned drinkers register, others are calling for the government to go further and introduce a minimum price on alcohol.
What we're not going to do is just adjust price that affects everyone, the majority of people who are doing the right thing.
Some of these hard measures, which will be effective, are politically difficult to put in place.
As the weather warms up in Darwin, residents and tourists are enjoying a drink as the debate over alcohol goes on. But even those who see alcohol as a social lubricant are also concerned about the serious problems excessive drinking can cause.
Alcohol's a big issue in frontier life, and the NT is still largely a frontier, so it's with us, and we need to work out how to have it in our lifestyle and yet not let it be detrimental.
Sarah Everingham reporting from the Northern Territory.